You're taking piano lessons either privately or through an online course or membership, but are frustrated because you feel like you're not learning as much as you could, even though your teacher is wonderful. Or you feel like you've reached an impasse and just can't make any further progress despite practicing like you should. If that describes you, I have one key thing to do immediately after your piano lesson or video session so you get the most out of your investment. And it's so simple that you're probably going to wonder why I'm making an entire video for it. Well, first, no one talks about it. Second, it's just that important and helpful, and not enough people do it. So here it is. Practice immediately after your lesson. That's it. That's the tip. But before you turn this off, give me just 5 minutes to explain why and how it's helpful, and then we'll try to figure out ways to implement it into your routine. During our lessons, we get so much new and detailed information. Even though your teacher or maybe you are writing down your assignment and notes diligently, sometimes those notes don't make sense when we go to look at them a day or two later. We think there's no way we're going to forget what we meant when we scribbled this note. But of course, then we do forget. And it's impossible to write down every single detail that you want to work on. But if you practice immediately after your lesson, you'll remember 95% of what you learned, and it's more likely to stay with you. You'll remember what that quick scribble meant. And once you take the time to process this information by yourself, thinking it through, practicing it, all of those things, you're much more likely to remember it throughout the week, even if you can't practice again for another day or two. Another thing that happens when you practice right after your lesson is questions or issues regarding what you learned will come up. And this is a good thing because this means you're diving deep into those techniques or that information. So when you practice right after your lesson, you can write down those things to ask your teacher next week or work through those things on your own. This creates more clarity and understanding on what you're learning, and you become an active participant in your learning process rather than the teacher just kind of speaking at you, telling you what to do. If you have commitments immediately after your lesson, I'm betting you still can find a solution. First, your practice right after your lesson doesn't have to be a full-blown session. If you only have 5 minutes, that's better than nothing and it will help. But of course, I don't know your exact situation, so it really comes down to you finding that solution. For example, maybe your teacher can move your lesson up a half hour, or maybe you can move your regular schedule up by just 15 minutes to give you that extra time after. Or if you can't practice after your lesson because everybody in the house is sleeping, go to a table and do some tabletop practice or some mental practice. Or listen to the piece you're working on with your headphones on so you can think through the piece and think through the tips that you learned right before. There are so many forms of practice that don't require a piano. And the great thing about this one little change, it's not even an addition really, is you'll notice immediate results with more clarity and better retention throughout the week. So I hope you'll give this a try and you'll see for yourself how powerful this is. So that's it for today. Just one little tip. Hope it helps. Thanks for watching. See you next time.